Today, we're continuing our conversation in response to the very common question that people arise in church, which is, isn't Christianity just a list of do's and don'ts? Which at its core is asking the question, what is the law of God all about? The 10 Commandments, the Old Testament, all saying that this is what God expects from us as people. So isn't the church then just a list of things that we should or shouldn't do? And what if we just don't need that in our life? And so we're looking at what this means. And yesterday we talked about how God's law is actually predicated by his grace. It's what 1 John 4, verse 7 and 8 says. It says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love comes from God. And anyone that loves is born of God and knows God. If you don't love, then you don't know God, because God is love." And here's why we love. Because God first loved us. So our response then to that love is that we would want to mimic what God is like. It's like I got a lawnmower for the house that we had. And the lawnmower, it was this green, it was like an electric lawnmower. So it was powered by lithium ion batteries and stuff. So I'd push it around the lawn. And then my son one day got a little toy lawnmower for Christmas. The thought was maybe he'll want to come and help dad mow the lawn. And so he'd rarely wear clothes. He'd come outside and he'd get his lawnmower. He'd start chasing dad around the lawn while I'm cutting the lawn. And it was great for me because generally the lawn, like mowing the lawn for me, I put my earphones in, I listen to a sermon or a podcast, or I try to have a moment of learning. And yet when my son comes out and comes to help me, even now we've got a lawnmower, you can ride on it, which is pretty cool, but my son will come and he'll just sit on my lap. And oftentimes it'll take me an hour or so to mow the lawn, and he'll just fall asleep on my lap, and there's this cool moment. But never in anywhere in that process have I ever said, "Peyton, get your lawnmower. Get your lawnmower, it's time to mow the lawn," right? Little bubbles coming out the side of it. I don't need him for that. But when I am using the lawnmower, Peyton loves me and I love him so much. And that love is it's so apparent that he just wants to be like me. And so what the law is in that moment is every day that I'm conversing with Peyton, I'm telling him again and again, basically, hey, here's who we're like as Hilkens. Here's what the Hilkens do. Here's what the Hilkens don't do. Hey, when you hit your sister, that's not what it means to be a man, and that's not how we treat people. That's not the Hilken way. That's not who we are. And a lot of that is built on who our family's built on, which is Jesus. But as kind of the patriarch of our family, I very much make sure he understands that will not fly in my household. That is not who I am like, and that's not who we are like. In the same way, here's what the scripture says about God's law. It says, Leviticus chapter 19, verse 1, "The Lord said to Moses," as he's giving the law to the people, God says, "Speak to the entire assembly of Israel and say to them, 'Be holy, because I, the Lord your God, am holy.'" Isn't that the simplest way? After that, it's all these. It says, "Do not make idols, respect your father and mother, do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive each other, do not swear falsely, do not defraud, do not hold back the wages of a hired worker overnight." There's all these things that he says, but did you hear what he started with? He said, "Be like me." So then we got to ask the question, then what is the law? Well, the law, all it is a father telling us as kids who he's like. He says, "I don't defraud. I'm a man of honor. I, the Lord your God, am holy. I am set apart. I don't lie. I don't steal. I don't cheat. And you're my kids. And in our house, that's just not who we are." Now, if you're outside of my house, I have no jurisdiction there. Ultimately, we're all going to be held accountable to this God who created all of us. But while we're here, God gave us the free will to say, "I don't want to be part of your family. I don't want to be in that." And he goes, "Well, that's perfectly fine." But for everyone who's going to be part of my community, who's going to be part of my group, part of my family, God says, here's how the Hilkens act, right? And God doesn't have a last name, or I would use his last name right now, but he says, here's how, here's how Christians act. And the law of God is not at its core God sitting there going, if I were a good person, here's what I would do. If I were a good person, here's what I would think. If I were a good person, here's what I wouldn't do. It's God just displaying who he is written out in words, saying, this is who Yahweh is like. Be like me. So as we start having these conversations and continue, even tomorrow, talking about God's law, let us first look at God's law and look at everything he says do and don't do as just a father looking down at his kids going, here's what your dad's like, and I want you to be like me too. If you want to bring your riding lawnmower or your little bubble blowing lawnmower behind me, I'd be more than happy to have you come and mimic who I am. For I, the Lord your God, am holy. We'll see you guys tomorrow.